Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Wave the Brush with me, your host, Kris, aka Mini Wargamer Kris, aka The Name Butcher, aka Hey you can't sleep here. Wave the Brush, the most informative 120 minutes on the internet on the wargaming lifestyle. We'll talk about painting, terrain, conversions, and everything else under the sun, which for anybody new tuning in is usually any topics up for grabs, the weather, sports, movies, who knows, right? But usually we're a whole lot of painting, usually a whole lot of Warhammer, usually, sometimes, occasionally, possibly. So if you are a first time viewer and you've never tuned in live, and you've been curious about this show, of course this show is about you guys. It is about asking questions and learning and dispelling the myths around some of these other kind of strange concepts you might have heard in the painting world, zenithal and edge highlighting and whatever, right? So I've kind of lost perspective on what the mysteries and stuff are. It's all become a blur. But, of course, you can always ask your questions. If you're attending live, you can always ask them in the chat. Of course, you can always join us on Discord. It's a really fun program. Just the link is in the description below. Of course, the other great way to get a hold of me is by email, Kris@miniwargaming.com. It's in the description below. And, you can ask, whatever you like, really, but it tends to be a lot of painting questions, or you want to show off what you're working on, or, you want a bit of a critique on your piece, or, something along those lines. Feel free to send those in. Of course, I highly recommend sending them in, because I really wouldn't do the show if I didn't get emails. And everybody's been really great. They've been sending lots of emails, and so it's been fantastic. It's awesome, and it's fun. It's all about you guys. That's what it is. It's all about you guys. And so yeah, and there are no dumb questions here. There are no dumb questions. None. Zero. I've been asked how to paint a certain thing a million times, and I'll answer it a million more times. And of course, if I don't answer it, any of the monkeys will answer it, because the monkeys are very knowledgeable. A lot of them are longtime viewers, and they pretty much know a lot of my responses to things and such. So, and of course, speaking of monkeys, we have who's joining us today. We got Cocking 55555. Hello, monkeys. We've got Andy Clark. Never fear, I am here. I you know what? I was a little bit fearful, but now that you're here, it's completely gone. Mad Cow Crazy, Andy Clark. Name reminds me of some BL author. Yeah, that does sound like a, yeah. But anyway. Knit Fink, hello everyone. Andy Clark, I'm not familiar with the BL author. No? Okay. Kirk Kishone, hello monkeys. How are we all doing? How are we all doing? How are we all doing? That is the important question. How are we all doing? I guess if you had multiple personalities, I mean, you could answer for, have many different answers. But anyway, how's everybody doing? Mad Cow Crazy, bad. Oh, mad. Cocking 555. I can't paint, is too wet to do. So inside and out. It's too wet. Where do you live, Cocking, that it's so wet you can't paint? Outside or inside? You live in the ocean? Do you live in the ocean? Andy Clark, painting Mortarion while listening to All-Star by Smash Mouth. Damn, I'm old. Yeah, who the hell listens to that? Who the hell listens to Smash Mouth? Deliberately, on purpose. Who does that? I don't know. I'm just teasing, dude. Mad Cow Crazy, because I'm bad. I'm bad. You know it. Shaman. Andy Clark, bad to the bone. Bad. Anthony B. Yo, monkeys and Kris. Shotgun beers. I don't have any beers. All I have is my coffees. My coffees. Z's. Anyway. George Hintz. Hey, monkeys. Doran Jr. Welcome, Monkey Lord and his faithful followers. The Grunta Orc. Hi, monkeys. And Monkey Master Kris. Good day. Random Mob. Greetings, monkeys. Mad Guy Crazy. Is that Harlequin Star Reaver or some such below the fan? Uh-oh. It's the one you did the nail goop on? Yeah. Yeah, this is it. Slowly but surely I'm getting this guy done. I just gotta see where I'm at in this framing here. Yeah. And it's color shift paint. Lots and lots of fun. It's shiny. It's a bone color inside there. The weapons are bone. I don't know. Probably brighten them up a bit more, I think. Initially I had the Harlequins in like a bone kind of color. And at first I was digging it. At first. But then I stopped. And I don't know. I'm stuck on what I want to do them. I think I'll keep the bone effect on the vehicles, but I'm not sure I want the Harlequins to have that bone coloring. I don't know. Hard to say. My decision-making process is fickle at best, so who knows exactly what I'll do? Who knows? Who can say? Suppositories. Uk. Dizzy Angel Demon, there she is. Hey, Kris. Hi. Random Mob. I've always heard if you don't thin your paint, Duncan will appear to you in your dreams. And can anyone confirm? You know what? I always thin my paint. Duncan doesn't come to me in my dreams, so I don't know. Matthew Adami. Kris, you're late by 1 minute 20. A wizard is never late. Clumsy Juggler. Hello, everybody. Hello. Steam McDemon. That's a fun name to say. Steam McDemon. I don't know. It's the way that rolls off the tongue. Steam McDemon. Steam McDemon. Kevin Cabal. Good day from the west. The wet coast. The wet coast? Is it really wet? Is it raining? Is it just stormy? Is it true, like the West Coast, like BC, Seattle, stuff like that? It's like, there's like, high rates of like people, ending it and stuff like that because of all the rain. Is it that depressing with all the rain? I'm sure it's beautiful, but is it really, because I hear that all the time, right? It's like, oh, West Coast, so dreary. Oh, it's always raining. Oh, people, Is it true? Is there any truth to it? Is what I'm asking. Dizzy Angel Demon, we are doing great. Awesome. The Welsh Bloke, hi everyone. Clayton Tate, Kris, I'm very excited. I'm grabbing a light box for cheap and a full airbrush kit today. Cool. Awesome. A light kit, I like a light box, and is the light box... Yeah, like the light box is a regular light box for photography, right? It's not like tattoo artists use like the light box like that, or for drawing and stuff. It's for photography, right? This is photography, by the way. Anybody who doesn't know what this hand gesture means, that's photography. In case anybody was like, what does that mean? Why does he do that? Anthony B, if you feel you shotgun coffee, your heart will explode. Don't do it, man. I try not to. I take it intravenously when possible. Of course, I also take it in suppository form as well. Sam Potts, what's up, everyone? Kris, how's life, brother? I've been working on some Death Guard. Sweet. Death Guard models are so cool. I mean, I like the new models. I like the new Death Guard. I like what they're doing with them. I just wish that they weren't so damn monoposed. You know what I mean? Like, give us some sort of variety, you know what I mean? But I mean, you couldn't get those really kind of cool tentacle effects and things like that, and the way things bend and are shaped. It'd be very, very hard to, create a multi-part model with that kind of dynamic kind of stuff going on. So it's kind of unfortunate. It's kind of a trade-off, really, is what it is. Do you want really dynamic looking models, or do you want to be able to multi-pose the things? And I'm somewhere in the middle, leaning towards multi-pose, but I mean, like, I do like some of the monopose stuff, you know what I mean? Like, some of it looks really cool. And of course, I mean, like, like a space marine, right? I mean, he's got his arm up and he's aiming down his gun. Well, we're all going to build like 50 of those guys, you know what I mean? So what's the big deal if he's monopose and he's already in that pose and he can only be in that pose, you know what I mean? What does it really matter? I don't know. But Death Guard, yes, very awesome. The new Typhus, love it. I'm so excited. I have to get one. That'll probably be, for all the Vault members out there, that'll probably be one of the next beginning to ends coming up. Probably pretty soon. Right now I'm working on, for the Vault members, I'm working on freehanding. Oh, it's too bright. Too bright! It's too bright! Freehanding chaos icons, because I wasn't... Crap, I can't figure out where I am. I wasn't happy with like the transfers and stuff, right? So... and of course, I don't have access to the Forge World ones, because I know apparently Forge World has a decal set, and so I did one freehanding like that, and then another one freehanding like that. It's kind of hard to see on the brightness of the armor, but I think you guys get the gist of it. But anyway, that's that, as they say. Where am I? Sandpods. That Matthew Adami. Kris, if you were truly Canadian, that coffee would be Tim Hortons, be maple flavored, and have whiskey in it. Well, I think, as everybody kind of knows, that I am not truly Canadian. So, because I don't go to Tim Hortons. I don't go to Tim Hortons. I don't trust it. I just, call me paranoid, which I might be. But I don't go to Tim Hortons. I don't do the Tim Hortons. Something about the coffee, the flavor of the coffee, and just no, I'm not into it. I just don't feel it. And of course, maple flavored. For me, maple flavored is only syrup, and syrup is for pancakes and sausages, and for shotgunning. And of course, whiskey. Well, whiskey goes in everything. Well, just about everything. And coffee, it does go. It blends very well with coffee. Random mob. I picked up a box of Harlequin recently. I plan to attempt to move past my slapdash, get it on the table paint style using term. Using term? Using term. Picking paint style using term. Alright. Yeah, well, I mean, Harlequins, like, you can kind of, like, do them kind of quickly and big, bold colors and be done, right? Or you can take your time and do, like, the diamond patterns and the stripes and, you know what I mean? Like, give the hair, like, a rainbow effect and whatever you want, right? Just do whatever kind of garish color scheme that you want to do. Perfectly acceptable, in my opinion. Suppositories. Okay, what's the Canadian monkey sound? If not, ook. Canadians, there's no monkeys in Canada. Canada is very devoid of wild monkeys, other than the people occupying the cities. But yeah, it's not there's not a whole lot of monkeys sitting around. It's not like Japan, where they got them really cool looking snow monkeys who sit in like the hot tubs and be groovy all day. And you know what I mean? Canada doesn't have that. Canada's got some really mean predators. It's got badgers and wolverines and bears. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's not a lot of room for monkeys, because I mean, a bear would eat a monkey, because a bear can run really, really fast. Like little black bears, they're very fast, and they can climb trees like nobody's business. They can climb a tree just as fast as a monkey could climb a tree, because they got them big ass claws, and they can just go right up a tree and hang out there all day if they want. They're basically, bears are big fat monkeys, but they're not. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, kids. Bears are big fat monkeys, but not. Old man Logan, there he is. Hey, y'all. Random mob. Suicide rates are higher because of the overcast. Really? Maybe because not everybody's getting enough sunlight. There's not enough what is that, vitamin B or something like that, D, E, some certain vitamin you get from the sunlight, or your body produces because of sunlight, something like that. Anyway, maybe that's why. To grunt to work. Time to paint some. Paint some what? Paint some monkeys, or just paint some harlequins? I don't know. What were we talking about? What were we talking about? Kevin Cabal. What have you heard is very true. We get insane rain. Yes, it is depressing. However, we paint to keep sane. Very good. I like that. That should be a slogan. Right? We paint to keep sane. Do it. Bang. Like, do it in like a stencil with a roller. Just right across the shirt. Bang. Done. We paint to keep sane. To keep from killing y'all. Lazy Monkey, howdy, howdy. Clayton Tate, Kris in Vancouver last winter. We had 68 days of rain. Aye! Straight. And it brings down the stressed out, overworked Vancouverites. It brings them down. Yeah, because everybody's all working all long ass days, and then you got 68 days of freaking rain. Blech. No, thank you. But that's gotta be the winter time, right? The rain comes in the winter time, because you guys don't really get a whole lot of snow, right? Like, from what I understand, it's not a lot of snow there, even though like you're pretty far north. But I mean, you don't get, it's not like, because I mean, like there's only a few hours difference between say like where I am and say like Montreal in Quebec. And Montreal, Quebec, because just where it is, freaking freezing. It's like, it'll just stop your heart kind of cold. It's like, holy crap, I'm at the freaking North Pole, but somebody put a damn city here. I don't know how that happened, but there we are. Yeah, it's, oh man, cold. Anyway, Carillion Panda. Carillion? Is that how you say it? Carillion? Cerulean? Anyway, a panda. Cerulean Panda. Carillion? I don't know. I think my brain slipped the groove there. Hi everyone. First show I've managed to catch live. Well, welcome. Cerulean? I don't know what that word is. I've seen it before, but I'm not going to pretend to know what it is. I don't know. I know when I'm beat. I know when to hold them, and I know when to fold them. Kilo 8878. That's fun to say. Kilo 8878. Hello. Cocking 555. I have a tanker truck of cold brew coffee. Holy moly. Really? A tanker truck of cold brew coffee? That sounds like fun. that sounds like if you could drink it all that like in a month, to just not every day, just every meal, you'd either get a lot done or you die, or die getting a lot done. Either way. Dorn Jr. Photography is vogue. Oh. Yeah, it's all this. Yeah, that's what I was doing, right? It was all, yeah, that's why that was for, yeah. That's excellent, Dorn. That's excellent. Oh man. Anthony B, episode 173, the coffee suppository experience. I'm sorry, did I say suppository out loud? Landcompter. Goo evening. Had a few of those. Goo evening, everyone. Good evening. Random Mob. I'm a huge fan of multi-pose models. I try to vary my poses as much as possible. Yeah, I know. I have a buddy as well. He's got a huge collection of models, and he loves every model. He's a huge time modeler, and he loves having every model be a different pose or be different in some form or fashion, which is very painstaking, and I mean, bravo to him for, like, being that big of a nut to do something like that. Me personally, man, screw it. I'll just put the model any which way. I got like 10 guys. all in a row. And sometimes for me, it's a bit kind of like, it's not like, it's a bit like fantasy where everybody's all in the same pose and they're all kind of rank and file kind of thing, like they're all orderly. And I'll do like the Space Marines, and I'll have like 5 Space Marines all gun pose, because then I'll arrange them so they're all in that kind of pose where it looks like a gun line kind of thing. I'll do that kind of stuff, but I don't need every single one of my models to be different. I'm fine with that. I'm okay with models being exactly the same. I mean, if it really bugged me enough, I would modify them more. Like I recently did my Warlock Conclave, and the arm only fits in, and there's like maybe a 20-degree wiggle that you can change the pose of the one arm. And the head as well. You can change kind of like how he's looking, but either way, looking kind of forward is really kind of the most logical, right? Because if you're not watching the road, you're gonna get, you're gonna crash into a tree, right? So, yeah, I mean, I thought of like some poses where like I'd have like the arm kind of up, but then when I look at the model like in that pose, and his arm's like straight out, and it's this and the spear is pointing upwards, it just looked weird. You know what I mean? Like I'd have to have it so his arm was like cradled in, and he's holding it, kind of like a knight lance kind of thing, right? So, and in those regards, I'm like, well, I don't want to go through all that freaking trouble. I'll just, screw it. I'll just pose them as they're built, and I'll just do it just to get them done. Brah. DeGrantor, Kris, I spend a long time painting about my paint schemes too. I hate that part of the hobby. Everything grinds to a halt, and you can't decide how you want to paint some models. Yeah. Same thing. I mean, I go through the same kind of blocks as well. I mean, like, I've got all this crap sitting here, and I mean, like, it's still mostly unpainted. I mean, it's still work in progress. I mean, you see all my Warlock Conclave. I want to get those done, but I've got like other projects on the go right now. I got like other stuff, and you know what I mean. Like, Lazy Monkey. Good evening. Now that sounds like a Nurgle and Slanesh party. Landcopter. Good, I mean. Cop King 555, episode 173, The Coffee in the Shotgun. Yeah, just kind of like Cobain it, you know what I mean? Just have the shotgun right there. Coffee. That's a terrible joke, I know. Old Man Logan, it's not a question of whether or not you are paranoid. It is whether or not you're paranoid enough. Confucius say. Kevin Cabal, Lazy Monkey, big time. Matthew Demi, honey badgers are terrifying. I know, because you know what? Who would have thought that honey could react that way? You know what I mean? Like, who saw, like, Winnie the Pooh really should be worried. I mean, honey badgers, for God's sakes. These things, they're coming right out of the frickin' honey. Emperor's Champion, evening all. Good evening. Kevin Cabal, episode number 173. Bears are big fat monkeys. According to a reliable source. I mean, I live in Europe, I have no idea, but according to my source in North America, bears are big fat monkeys. Like anybody really thinks that, right? Anybody's, Mom, Kris on the TV said, bears are big fat monkeys. Really? We'll have to whip out our Encyclopedia Britannica and check that out. Who has Encyclopedia Britannicas anymore? Who has those encyclopedias? I mean, with the power of the internet everywhere, who has those? Like, do those guys still go around selling them? Because remember before, like, people go around all over the place selling those encyclopedias. Remember, it's kind of like a joke to go around selling encyclopedias. Do those guys still exist? Are there guys out there still selling encyclopedias? I want to know. Lazy Monkey, episode 173, big fat Canadian monkey bears. Monkey bears. That actually sounds that actually sounds kind of cute. Monkey bears. Big fat Canadian monkey bears. Or it could be one of those kind of bars that where you get a collection of bear people, men. And it's that kind of gathering kind of club. What do they call those kind of bars? Jeez. Anyway, Big fat monkey, big fat Canadian monkey bears. Yeah, that sounds like a bar. Where you can find your soulmate. Lazy monkey. It's the new cryptid craze. Cryptid. Emperor Champion. Cold-hearted Canadians. Cold-hearted. Sometimes up north. Oh man, we're a sturdy bunch up north. I'll tell you. Yeah. Because, I mean, cold day, you don't stop by and go, hi, how's it going? You don't stand out in the weather, BSing with people. It's freaking cold. You just want to get to where you're going and get back inside. Suppositories, isn't that a mineral? Is it? I don't know. Tolo, I'm here now. We can start. Okay, now we can start. Lazy Monkey, Kris, isn't Carillion a color of blue? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why the name's familiar. Yeah, because I have an oil paint, and it's yeah, because you got Cobalt, Carillion, like Navy, and what's some other ones? Azure and stuff like that. Yeah. Random Mob, Carillion is the water Pokemon gym, right? Airbrushing Champion, isn't it a light teal? Is it a light teal? Is that what it is? Yeah. Tolo, I must have them different, hence I will magnetize hands. Yeah, exactly. Different model poses and stuff like that. Clayton Tate, episode 173, the monkey, the bear, and the coffee suppository. I like that one. That's good. I like that one. Oh, how do I change this? Oh, I gotta change this now. Where'd it go? Oh wait, Matthew has a good one. Monkey bears, honey badgers, and coffee suppositories. Oh my. I might have to go with Matthew's here now. Like I said, fickle. Everybody knows old Kris is quite fickle. Come on, save. Saved! It is saved. Okay, where were we? Sorry, I got like one thing going here and there, here. There. And Kilo 8878 email time. It is pretty damn close to email time. Yeah, I think you're right. Kirk Rochelle, my buddy, was still pull out an encyclopedia when we argue stuff at the game. And me and my other buddy pull out our phone and Google it before he can fetch the book. He must be an old timer then. He must be old. Yeah, because I mean, everybody knows you can just whip out your phone and Google that stuff, right? I mean, yeah. Steve McDemon, I have an Encyclopedia Britannica. Well, it's actually 30 books from 78. Holy crap. That's awesome. That's awesome. Because, I mean, you hang on to that, right? Because, I mean, as they revise them, I don't even know if they revise that stuff anymore, but as they revise them, things change, terminologies change, and, the way they present things change, and it's this little slice of history when you that's very interesting. I like that. Kevin Cabal, I met my wife at a big fat Canadian monkey bears during a maple syrup shotgunning contest. She won. That sounds like quite the gal. Yeah, my old lady, she'll do a shot of syrup every now and then. Why? I don't know. It's weird. She's Canadian though. Random Mob. My favorite animal fact, except for the gay necrophiliac duck, is the honey badger biting the lion's dick off to kill it. What? What the hell sentence did I just read there? My favorite animal fact, except for the fact gay necrophiliac duck, is the honey badger biting the lion's dick off to kill it. Yeah, I read that twice. That still doesn't make any sense. Wow. I thought I was weird. Matthew Demi, the book is nice because you can brain hooligans. Yeah, exactly. Those encyclopedias, you just kill people with them. It's like dropping a big cement block on somebody. Kirk showing he's 6 months younger than me. Oh, jeez. Tolo, whip it out. Whip it out to find out. Encyclopedias, you pervs. Yeah, they whip it out to find out. You know what I mean? You're not going to know unless you whip it out. You're going to sit here and wonder all day long until you whip it out. Matthew Deming, I used to have a set of Science of Millennium set released in 2000. I used to have a set of Science of the Millennium. Interesting. Was that like an encyclopedia like that? Sounds kind of interesting. Alrighty. Let's do email. Because we can. Put your headphones on. Email time. Email time. I love that one. That's still my favorite one. And I realized after I said it too, put your headphones on. Like, I'm deliberately trying to deafen you. I meant to mean that, like, headphones, like turn the volume down. That's what I meant to mean. I meant to mean. This is an email from, Random Mob. Here we go. Here is my Def Dread from a looted army. I'm not sure what the plan is to do with his base. I was wondering if he's orky enough. Is he orky enough? Today on Oprah. Is he orky enough? Let's go with this one. Nope. Yeah, let's stay with this one. This one? Yeah, no, we'll stay with this one. This one's better. So here we go. We have a Hellbrute. Yeah, Hellbrute converted into an orkiness. Let's have a look here. He's got an orky head-ish thing. He's got a big old, looks like Necron armor plate. He's got guns. He's got chain weapons. He's got some sort of grabber claw arm. He's got more orkiness over here. He's got, looks like a flamethrower maybe? Heavy flamer? Is he orky enough? That's really a good question, because is he orky enough? Off the hop, I would say no. He's not orky enough. Not that anything is wrong here, because I like the little freehanding here. That's really cool. I'd like to see more armor plate, and maybe, I don't know why, but more guns, and I want to see bigger smokestacks. And maybe like some armor on the leg things. You know what I mean? Like just kind of patchworked armor stuff. I think I'd like to see more of the patchwork armor on him. That's what it is. Yeah, see like this side here? Too smooth. In my opinion. It's you know what I mean? Like it needs bits and bobs and, you know, like tubes and, you know, wires and things running through here. And, you know, he needs all sorts of kind of crazy crap going. Oh, okay, it's a big ass flamer there, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he looks really good, and I mean, if you're throwing him on the tabletop right now, bravo, and, you know, he looks good. But, yeah, I would do more orkiness. More. Yeah, let's go back to the first one here, because that was a good one. Yeah. You know, I mean, you could leave other elements. Like, I like how you have this armor plate here that kind of goes around and halos around his head and stuff like that. And I like, you know, still seeing like the chaos bit underneath. But I'd like to see more stuff like that, you know. Even if you could get like a little bit of plastic card and, you know, make up like little sheets of armor and stuff like that. And, you know, just really kind of make them look a little bit more patchwork. I think would be, you know, hilarious. I think it would, you know, be really interesting conversion. Yeah. And as far as, were you asking about the base? The base not done. It says looted Def Dread. Not sure what to do with his base. Oh, yeah, not sure what to do with the base. You know, the technicals all work really good. I mean, it's just really kind of what color do you want to do, right? Well, do you have a set gaming board that you play on? You know, do it in that color scheme. You know, is the gaming club, you know, like, you know, light grays and browns are not bad to go with, especially with little splashes of, you know, like black or browns or like a spot of grass here and there, because then it kind of goes with any kind of table, right? You can put the base down on a green mat, and it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look out of place, right? It's not like a snow base on a jungle thing, right? I mean, then the models look kind of, you know, kind of out of place, right? And so, you know, it kind of throws you out of the game, especially if you want to take like photos and stuff like that, and you know, kind of build up a narrative, and you know, but otherwise, yeah, go for more neutral kind of colors, you know, grays, light browns, stuff like that. Of course, if you do have, you know, if you play at home all the time and your game table's like desert, then do your bases like desert, right? So thank you, Garrett, aka Random Mob, for sending that in. Awesome stuff. Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more orkiness on him. Is he orky? The question was he orky enough? In my opinion, not quite enough. He was almost there, but not quite enough. I'd like to see a little bit more bits and bobs and, you know, tubes and wires and stuff like that. More patchwork armor and, you know, covering up like those leg guards and stuff like that. And the one kind of buzzsaw arm would just look a little too smooth, you know. And even with like parts like that, where you have, you know, like smooth parts and you kind of just glue them together, take a bit of green stuff. And, you know, you ever see like how welds look? Do that. You lay a little sausage down on that seam line, and then with like with a ballpoint pen, you can just gently push that green stuff, and it'll make the look of a weld. And you can do like these big dirty welds on the model, and it'll look more orky by that point. Even if you have those big flat panels, it'll look orky because of the big rough welds. You know what I mean? So stuff like that, you know, orkiness. It's all about aesthetics with orkiness, and aesthetics of orcs is very slapdash. It's very, you know, just take this, you know, slap that, rivet it together, you know, get a clamp that on, get a squig, stick it in there, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know, just stick a squig in there anyway. I don't know where I am in these comments. Oh, we're still talking about encyclopedias. Landcompter, whatever you do, guys, do not ever Google shaved bears. I mean, unless you want to see shaved bear. You know what? No, I know. I saw a black bear that had no hair. The most frightening thing I ever saw in my life. Yeah. Other than like a hairless guinea pig or hairless cats. Yeah. Those are just freaky looking, you know what I mean? Yeah, so don't Google shaved bears. Matthew Dummy, you can never have enough, be orky enough, and can never have enough DACA. Never. Emperor's Champion, too much chaosy bits showing. Yeah, well, like I said, like you just throw more stuff on there. Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. Lazy Monkey. Little bits of wire making the tubes. Wires connecting random bits of the model to other bits will help with that too. Random Mob. Thanks, Kris. You spelled my name wrong. I'll definitely look into grabbing more craziness for him. I'm definitely going to steal the weld idea. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, by all means, go right ahead. I've done quick tips on that, doing that weld, on how to create that, and doing like orky panels and stuff like that. It's in the vault. For just, you know, kind of creating those elements for slapping onto your orc vehicles, like making orc armor and stuff like that. I do have a video on that. And, you know, feel free. I mean, making the rivets and stuff like that, yeah. So, feel free, man. Because I think that's also what he needs, too, is he needs more rivets. Like, even on that Necron bit that you have on the model, if you threw, like, rivets, you know what I mean? Like, because they stole that big Necron piece of armor, they slapped it to their orky, and they had to rivet it down, you know what I mean? Because, well, because it's Necron, and in the lore, isn't Necron stuff, isn't it supposed to phase out, and then, you know, returns to their tomb world, and then, like, the scarabs and everything like that, and all pick over the bits and reassemble Necrons? Isn't that the lore, that, like, there's no Necron technology left from a battlefield? They all just kind of, you know, just disappear and go back to the tomb world kind of thing? I thought that was the lore. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway. Mad Cow Crazy. I bet you'd be scared jealous if you saw a naked hairless Dave. Ew. Wait, which Dave? Either one. Ew. No. 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 Although a hairless Steve or Josh would be hilarious, because those guys are furry. in by the very definition of the term, are furry. Like full on, just matted, like shag carpet. It's like Chewbacca with a haircut. That's what it's like. It's oh dude, you guys have no idea what kind of scene it is around here. It's brutal. It's brutal, awful. It's so much just stuff you see that you don't want to see. Oh man, where am I in the comments? What was it? Rita? R. Mackenzie, because I can say the Mackenzie part. After way to the brush, does anyone in the office speak Klingon? You know what? I don't know. I have the Klingon dictionary. But does anybody speak it? I don't think so. Why do you ask? That's kind of a random question. I mean, I realize that any topic is up for grabs, but yeah, that's just because I mean, we weren't on the subject of Star Trek, were we? Were we? No, we weren't. Anyway, Tolo, how to make an orc per Kris? Lay down the sauces and slap a squig in it. Lay some sausage. Just lay some sausage. Mackenzie, way the brush. Do you store your brushes horizontal or vertical? And does it matter? Yeah, that's actually a pretty good question. Okay. So, normally I store my brushes ends up. See? Little Batman cup. All the bristles, right? All my brushes are sitting bristles up. Sometimes I'm leaving them with their little caps, protecting them. Sometimes, you know, if you have Winsor Newtons and you just hardly ever use them, you just leave them there. Anyway, yeah, so I store them like this normally. Now, that's when they're dry and ready to use, right? When I have cleaned them and used my brush soap and conditioned them and everything like that, I leave them on their sides to dry. And then when they're dry and I'm confident, a day later that they're dry, then I'll store them up like that. I'll put the plastic caps on for like my more precise brushes, and I'll, store them like that if I'm not going to be touching them for a bit. If I know I'm not going to be touching them for a bit. Otherwise, my desk, I have 4 brushes that I always use. Hold on here. Of course, I can't grab them right now. Here we go. I have 4 brushes that I always use. These brushes are always sitting on my work area because I'm always using them. And that hair's out of place. Because I haven't washed it yet, that's why. I left work yesterday without washing my brushes. I know, bad guy. Anyway, these 4 brushes, so what brushes am I talking about here? I am talking about, let me just arrange them here in my hand. Okay, I'm talking about a small base brush, a medium layer brush, which is essentially the same damn size. They're the same brush. But my medium layer brush was pretty much my work brush. And this is the brush that I normally scoop the paint out of the pots with and apply it to my palette. And then I'll rinse this off. And then, if I'm doing any kind of small base coating and stuff like that, I'll use my small base coating brush, as the name would suggest. But I mean, I always use my small layer brush for that as well. And then, of course, I have my Artificer brush and my old detail brush from Citadel. This is the older one with the yellow cap on the end, and you can still see the metal of the furrow. The brand new GW ones are completely black brushes. There's no color on them. Whereas the version before this one, they had this coloring system on the ends of the brushes. Anyway, yeah, I still use this detail brush for obviously laying base coats of small stuff and things like that. And of course, I'll do other detail kind of work with it. And then when I really want to get precise, I'm laying, eyeballs and, doing just small precise details, I'll use this Artificer brush. And like I said, I hardly ever use my Winsor Newtons because I can get my jobs done with this brush just as easily as I could with my Winsor Newtons. But these I use every day, my Winsor Newtons, whenever I'm feeling particularly uppity, I suppose. Oh, you guys want to see a good one? Oh man, I mistreated my brush. Oh. Now see, I have another cup of brushes. So Kris has got brushes, and these are like old brushes. Like I've got like these old blue handled Citadel brushes. I even have old red handled Citadel brushes. I got some synthetics in here. I got Army Painter, and I even have these Ichiban Studio ones. You know, these ones they had they pop out. And I did a review on them a while back. Whatever happened to Ichiban anyway? Does anybody know what happened to him? All of a sudden, it seemed like, he was everywhere, and then all of a sudden he's gone. Anyway, I mistreated my brush. Look what I did. Look at this. You guys will laugh. Look at this. Look what I did. Yeah. Now, some of you might be asking, Kris, how did you do that to your brush? And thankfully, like, this brush was kind of getting near the end of its life. Well, I mean, it still comes to a really good point. This is my artificial brush. So this is a newer Citadel brush. So I just recently did this. And yeah, this brush here, let me make sure I can show off the curve there. I was rinsing off the brush. I was kind of in a hurry, which you shouldn't be doing when you're in a hurry. And I ended up, because like the way I paint is I'm sitting painting down, and I'll have my rinse water like right here. And then my table's like, at kind of like, below chest height kind of thing. And I was rinsing off my brush, and then I always have a rag on my thigh. And so I was drying my brush off on my thigh, and I was bringing my hand up, but I was in such a hurry that I brought my hand up and I hit my table, and I bented. Is that a friggin' word? Bented? I bent my brush. I bent my Wookiee. And, yeah. So I couldn't throw it away though. I was like, I'm going to keep this brush as a reminder to not be in a rush. That, yeah. It's a good thing I have a supply of brushes, because man. Anyway, yeah. So that's a little story of me messing up, and so even professional painters, long life professional painters, do mess up from time to time. And, we're only human. We're only human. Some of us, anyway. I'm 100% human. And make mistakes. Anyway, where are we in these comments here? Matthew Demi. I can't let an image of Quirk out of my head. Now I need to brain myself. Matthew, what is your favorite Star Trek? The original, the Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise? Lazy Monkey, DS9 for me. DS9 is probably one of my favorites. My favorite is Next Generation. It was the one I grew up on, loved, watched repeatedly, religiously. And then it was DS9 came out, and I started getting into DS9 sort of. I was actually watching more Babylon 5 at the time, because I found it a little bit more compelling in the early parts of when the two were on at the same time. I started at that point too. I also started getting more into the original series, watching the original Star Trek, because as a young guy, shows from the 60s, you know what I mean? Like, the special effects are so dated. But it wasn't until I actually watched one, and I think it was with my father, and he was kind of like explaining the metaphors behind it and the deep moral of the story, and that made me appreciate the show a lot more, the original series. And so I ended up watching, the original series more. And yeah, and now that the original series has updated graphics and everything like that, and the colors boosted, and like they made it all pretty. Yeah, why not? Why not watch the originals? The originals are great shows. They're fantastic. The writing in them is top shelf. There's a reason why people still go on about the original series. There is a reason for it, because of the caliber of show, and also too for when it was made during its time as well. DS9 got really good when it got into the whole Dominion storyline. Voyager, I just kind of, I liked it. I watched Voyager, but it didn't get interesting until they got into Borg space. And they introduced 709. You know what I mean? Yeah, sure, they threw in this hot blonde into the show for ratings, But the show what got interesting as well because they introduced the whole Borg storyline, and the Borg are, you know, the big supervillains of Star Trek, right? So it was very, very interesting. You know, I like all the Borg storyline stuff. It's all really fascinating to me. And again, the show got more interesting as, you know, it went on like that. Enterprise, I didn't mind Enterprise. I liked it. I liked when they got into the whole Xindi storyline and stuff like that. And, you know, and of course I watched the brand new Star Trek Discovery. I was really kind of, you know, leery of it, you know, because I seen how, like, they changed the Klingons, and, you know, Klingons are a very beloved kind of species in Star Trek. And, I mean, I didn't really mind it. I liked how they do Klingon now, like, when they're speaking it. It sounds more fluid. In the TV shows and stuff, it's always, you know what I mean? Like, whereas in this new show, it sounded much more fluid. It sounded like a real language. And I like that. That was very, very cool. And of course, they kept all the key elements of, you know, like the Klingon culture kind of stuff. And I thought that was very cool. I mean, really, it's only the looks and the aesthetics that's changed, mostly. And I mean, you know, they want. I get it. They wanted to make them look more alien, right? Because I mean, before it was just they were a bunch of long-haired dudes who looked like, you know, Mongolians and Native Americans, and, you know what I mean. Like, I can see why they'd want to go over the change and make them, you know, alien, right? Because they're supposed to be aliens, right? So I get it. And I thought it was kind of interesting too that with the new show that it wasn't really about the crew. It's more about one character. And I liked the new show because I liked how it told the story from both sides. I thought that was very interesting. And of course, I liked the art style and the visual direction of it all. I felt very much like a Netflix show. And so, you know, it feels more cinematic than it does TV show, which is very cool. I like that. So I'm hopeful for this new show. I'm hopeful that it will get more interesting, better, more intense, because again, it is concentrating around the Federation Klingon War. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hopeful. But again, who knows? But I mean, Netflix tends to make pretty decent shows. So, you know, we'll see. Right. But yeah, so the question was, what is my favorite? My favorite is Next Gen, with the original series following pretty close, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, and now the new one. Yeah, I would go in that kind of order. Random mob at Kris. How do you feel about the current lore art style for Warhammer 40k? Do you prefer the old Rogue Trader style or more serious styles? The Rogue Trader style was dark, and it had a dark kind of humor to it. Orcs, you know, very dark humor. The Imperium and the way it was all viewed, and that was the way it was supposed to be viewed. It was from a very dark, humorous kind of side, because when you look at the Imperium of Man, it is freaking dark. Like, it's oppressive, you know. There's nothing fun about being a human in the time of 40k, right? I mean, there's nothing fun unless you live on some small backward planet where, you know, you have a small village and on, you know, like, otherwise if you grew up in a hive world, man, shoot me now, you know what I mean? Like, whew. So I mean, I like the grimdark. I wouldn't say I'm more of a serious 40k. I don't like the serious side of it. I like orcs. I love second edition orcs and first. They were so funny. They were so characterful, you know. There was lots of humor in it, you know, along with being dark, which, you know, would have to be, because I mean, we're talking about, you know, this fictional war, this, you know, this galactic warfare. I mean, you know, that's grim in itself. War should not be taken lightly, right? The actual concept of war should not be taken lightly, because people die, right? And so if you're gonna make light of it, then yeah, you know, you can do it by way of dark humor. In my opinion, anyway. I mean, some people like the serious kind of stuff, and, you know, ooh, it's brooding, you know. I mean, sure. I lean towards more of the funnier side of it. Orcs in earlier editions were funnier and better, you know. It made more sense for them to just kind of, let's go off to another planet and kick their ass, and let's make a big crazy ass spaceship with laser guns that shouldn't even work, but that somehow they work. And You know what I mean? They got Gretchen and snotlings all over the place, and I'm just gonna use a Gretchen to brush my teeth, or I'm gonna use a snotling as a toiletry. You know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of stuff that, you know, really kind of made early 40K kind of the universe kind of funny, because again, you have the Imperium, which is this grim dark, and then you had the orcs, which provided a bit of comic relief. Really, is what it was. And then everything kind of changed, and everybody's all just, you know. And then they tried to do it with the Necrons, making them crazy, and it's like, no, I don't buy it. I liked Necrons being more silent and ominous, you know. And I think we'll be for a rough road if they do it to Tyranids, where they start giving Tyranids personalities. I don't think so. I think we'll be witnessing the end, as it were, if that's the case. If they're making Tyranids have personalities, yeah, we're done. It's done. 40K's done. Mackenzie, with the brush. You designed that brush to paint behind boulders. yeah, pretty much, right? It's just kind of go right in there. Lazy Monkey, a new specialty brush for hard to reach places. Yeah, it's like the toothbrushes, right? Just get right in there. Paul0132. Oh crap, Kris, you just gave GW a new idea. Offset artificial brushes, $30 each. I know, and that's the thing. I'm spouting out ideas all over the place, man. I was just throwing these things out there and just seeing. I'm just throwing the seeds out there and just seeing what flowers. That's what I do. Because, you know, why not, right? Old Man Logan. Hey, Kris. Any plans to restock the steady hand grip in the mini wargaming shop? Yes, there are plans, and yes, I will be doing it. I keep saying that, but I will. So, yes, there are plans. There are things, steps in motion to restock. I know, because you're not the only guy. I know. I will. Random mob. Some shows are timeless, like Twilight Zone, but I do find myself spoiled by new graphics in games, higher production values in shows. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, they still have their charm. I mean, old Twilight episodes, yeah, definitely. The old Outer Limits, definitely. You know, I started watching those, this one on Netflix, Black Mirror, and you know, it's been compared to like the modern day Twilight Zone. They're far darker than Twilight Zone, but some of them are just fantastic. Like the last one I watched was about a copy of your brain and being it being like Siri for your house. Oh yeah, that was a fantastic episode. It was awesome. The concept, the ideas, you know what I mean? Like for all these shows in this show, awesome stuff. If you haven't watched Black Mirror on Netflix, watch it now. It's like each show is a different episode. It's like Twilight Zone. It's like each show is its own beginning and end. So I mean, you don't have to worry what season you're in. Just watch an episode. If you like that kind of stuff, if you dig like the old kind of sci-fi and a lot of these shows, they have a very kind of sci-fi element because a lot of them are taking place in the future because basically, you know, most sci-fi, that's what it's about. It's about our future because we're often concerned with where we're going, with what's going to happen, the repercussions of a certain action, right? That's what sci-fi does for us. It allows us to kind of project possible scenarios for our futures that we don't want to go down, or we may want to go down, or we, you know what I mean, or we inevitably will go down, right? And sci-fi can tell those kind of stories, and that's why I like sci-fi. That's why I like sci-fi. It's exploring the possibilities of time. Anyway, Greenleaf Terrain, consume. Yeah, I'm wearing my consume shirt today. It's Mr. Monopoly Man, and it's like obey, and this is your god. As soon as I saw this shirt, it was Justin, Mini Wargamer Justin, his wife. I have her on Facebook, and she had seen the shirt. And I was like, "Oh, I gotta buy it!" And I told her, I said, "Well, I'm buying it." And so as soon as I saw the shirt, I bought it, and so I bought it because it's funny. It's funny, and if you don't get this reference, you know, get your phone out or get an encyclopedia and Google it. You gotta Google the stuff I live through. Lazy Monkey. Gene Stealer cult should be personality of the Tyranid side. No, but that's the Gene Stealer cult, though. Like I don't picture Gene Stealers talking at all. I imagine them being more like telepathic, or more like how dogs, because like wolves, they have a very complex system of communication, but they don't speak English. We don't communicate with them. I mean, we can communicate to a certain degree, but otherwise, we're not like sitting down having tea and going, "How was your day?" And I was out in the forest eating a rabbit, and that kind of crap isn't going on, right? So. At least to my knowledge, it's not. I don't know. I can't say for 100%. The part of my brain that says that most things are possible says, well, that is a possibility. Somewhere in a laboratory, that experiment might be going on. I don't know. But either way, language, right? So, no. I don't see it. If they do that and they do that to Tyranids, yeah, I'll be done. I'll be done. That's too stupid. When they did it to Necrons, I was like really disappointed because they killed the ominous feeling of Necrons. Necrons were this shadow force moving through the universe, destroying all life. You know what I mean? They were the antithesis of the Tyranids, which was consume all life, right? So you have Tyranids who are consume all life, and you have Necrons, which was destroy all life. Well, who's the faction of life? Who's the faction of life? Because Eldar are not it. Humans aren't it. Who's the faction of life? Tau? Not really. They're not big enough. I think orcs are the faction of life. Because they can just spread out and populate all over the place. And they just like weeds, they just come everywhere. And so it's the orcs. I think the orcs are the faction of life. And so when orcs had the sense of humor to them, they were probably like the best faction, because they fought, they laughed, they did this, they built stuff, they went on crazy adventures, and you know what I mean. Like, yeah, they got them. Life was cheap as far as orcs concerned, but I mean, that was kind of the humor of it all too, right? It was just, what was the point, So, yeah. Anyway, tangent time. I should have like a little thing come up. Tangent. Random mob. Yeah, orcs are brutal, violent, and torturous, now way scary. Yeah, and I mean, like, I can see why, because you want to make the 40k universe scary. Because, yeah, it is. And, why not, right? I mean, it's got to have some sort of flavor. And I mean, like, in the early days, it was still trying to gain foot, and it was still gaining popularity. And, of course, they're borrowing from outside influences all over the place, right? And so they're bringing this all together to make this universe. Now, 30 years later, we have this more cohesive feeling of what 40k is versus what it was in 87. That's just natural. Star Wars wasn't like that when it came out in 77. And then by the time the end of Return of the Jedi came around, it was the universe was a little bit more cohesive. It was what was going on, And so, same thing. Stephen Galode and the Necron spoke wisely. I'll be back. I'll be back. Greenleaf Terrain. What is it like being so old? It's kind of rough, dude. You'll be there soon enough. You're not that far behind me. What are you talking about? Are you? No. You're not in your 20s. You're like in your 30s. You're old. You're old. Lazy Monkey Kris. Yeah, the GCs themselves would be more silent, but the cult lends itself more to comedic dark side than the Tyranids themselves. Yes, but that's not Tyranids though. You know what I mean? Like you don't picture the cultists conversing with a lictor. Right? I mean, you don't really see that happening. And if it does, then we're done. Unless, of course, not conversing, like vocally. If they're conversing, like, over the overmind, the hive mind, and then there's no reason, because, I mean, that's the whole point of the hive mind. They all, if Tyranids could talk, then they all would speak at once, right? Because it's like the Borg. right? They're all speaking at the same time. If they were a hive mind, if they're all under one control, then if they could talk, then they all would talk, and it would be one singular voice they would speak with. And that would be dumb if they could talk, because it would kill, the terror around them. A silent enemy is more scarier than one you can hear or see. It's like Hitchcock, scarier elements, monsters, movies, and stuff like that. It was scarier not to see it than to actually see it. That's why a lot of the older movies, and because of budget constraints too, but in cinema, you know what I mean? Like, the monster, oh, he's coming in, oh, you see the shadow, and it's scary because your imagination is far more creative than what you could be shown. And and there's a lot of things in 40K that element, that air of mystery, were dispelled, and I think those were poor choices, that they had to explain everything. They got to explain everything. They don't have to explain everything. Keep the mysteries there, because that's what keeps people talking about the possibilities of this and that. Because I remember, when Necrons came out, that it was the possibility, because they kind of hint at it, that in fact it was a Satan god in Mars, that he was that's what the Mechanicus found, and so he ended up influencing the Mechanicus to make machines and stuff like that, because there was a Satan god in the center of Mars, because Mars is a dead world. Mars was a tomb world. You know what I mean? And so they hinted at that kind of stuff. And now it's all, no, it's this and that. No, Necrons aren't mysterious. They're just crazy. Oh, snore. Like, who the hell decided that? They should have had their asses kicked. Anyway. Cocking 555. The faction of life is orcs and Nurgle. No, Nurgle's death. Nurgle is corruption and demise. Nurgle's the god of death. He's not life. He's corruption and corrosion. Corrosion is rot. If anything, Tzeentch is a god of life, because change. But change can be death as well. But life can change states. So Tzeentch is more like the god of life, because you can change states. You can start being this thing, and then this thing, and then this thing, and then this thing, and you keep on going because you're constantly changing. Versus Nurgle, everything falls to decay. Everything rots. That's a fixed position, and that's why I think that's why the two gods are the opposite of each other, right? Because like Nurgle and Tzeentch hate each other, like the gods. Khorne and Slaanesh hate each other because they're opposites, right? And Nurgle, is death. Nurgle is also the god of rebirth. The death comes from the rebirth into new forms. But then that would be change. That's change. That's Tzeentch. So, you know what I mean? Like, see, that's what I mean. Like, in the old Realms of Chaos books, that's why the gods fought. That's why the Chaos gods fought, was because they were diametrically opposed each other forces. You know what I mean? Tzeentch was the changer of ways. He was the changer. He was the plotter. He was the mutator. You know what I mean? And he constantly just you know what I mean? Whereas Nurgle, fixed position, rot and decay. All life falls to rot and decay. Everything erodes and is destroyed. It's a fixed position. Khorne, I don't know, murder. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know how you get anything done with just your battle plan's murder. But, and then Slaanesh, excess. Sure, pleasure, right? But, anyway, I know. I'm just trying to remember what was from the old Realms of Chaos books. Because that's the way they explained the gods way back when. Again, they kept it mysterious. And now they feel like they gotta frickin' explain everything. It's like, it's frickin' retarded. Random mob. Isn't the shadow and orb literally a billion voices screaming? Yeah, exactly. It would be, exactly. If you were to hear the hive mind. If you talked at one Tyranid on one planet and, 50 million light years over and talk to another Tyranid on another planet, they should all speak with the same voice, right? Because they're a single connective hive mind. Some of these things they don't think through. Oh, man. Data Wargaming. Who decided Necrons were like that? The same idiot who ruined the Death Guard and made Primaris not grimdark. Yeah. Macro, that's why Tzeentch and Nurgle fight, because Tzeentch sees Nurgle's rebirth as abominable. Yeah, see, no, I didn't know that. I mean, like, the way it used to be is because of their positions, because the gods are the formations of chaos. The chaos gods are formations of the real universe. So, you know, murder and bloodshed, that gave birth to Khorne. Excess gave birth to Slaanesh. Nurgle, everything rotted and decayed, became Nurgle, and everything plotting and changing, and, you know what I mean, became Tzeentch. And then there was all the other minor gods around chaos that would come and go, because the universe is fickle, and, you know what I mean, like, there would be other chaos gods, you know. But anyway. Where are we? Landcompter. Nurgle was a Mesopotamian god. He was usually depicted by a erected cock. I think the more speaks of a god of renewal. Sure. But that's the inspiration. But what did they want? You know, because, I mean, what is the inspiration for Khorne? Right? Okay, if Nurgle was a Mesopotamian god, what god was Khorne? What god was Slaanesh? What god was Tzeentch? I mean, Nurgle, the name itself and the fact it's a god, serves as, you know, the beginning, the inspiration for it. You know, because, I mean, 40K is derived from many inspirations or flat out copies, but either way, you know, which is it? Lazy Monkey, exactly right. Email time. Let's do an email. Oh, earmuffs. email time. Email time. I like that one. Of course, we can always thank Guymere Alfer, aka Carl, aka Beer and Blood Bowl, for those wonderful email intros. This is from Chaotic Colors, and this is Gilliman. Oh, would love to hear your thoughts on this guy. Don't hold back. My client is happy with him, but would like to know how you would take quality to the next level. Thanks. So, let's have a look at Gilliman. Very nice. Different take. I like. Entirely gold. Very interesting. I mean, obviously, next level would be having, I think, you know, more color variation, or doing this in a non-metallic, because I think this is a true metallic, right? Yeah. I wouldn't rely on the shade washes to achieve your shading and everything like that. I'd be very deliberate about it. Also, seam lines, stuff like that, I would take care of those. More color depth, like for other elements that you want to stand out, right? You know, changing variation in tones of the same color. For example, if you were going to go entirely gold with a model, I would have the parts of the inner flatter pieces of the armor a deeper gold, and then say the trim being a brighter gold, and say for elements within that being a slightly different shade of gold, so that you have these elements separated and you know, visually being more interesting. You know, I like the sword. I like the depth on the sword. I like how, you know, it goes from this kind of peachy kind of color. I don't know if that's just because the camera kind of washes the color out, or if that's the way you did it, where this kind of has this pale kind of salmon kind of color, as it were. It's often described as salmon, just this, you know, desaturated red like look. But otherwise, no. I mean, like, if that's what's key. That's what's key. Is if your customer is happy, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because as a commission painter, that should be your first and foremost concern, is your customer. And if your customer was completely happy with this, then it was a win. And no matter what I say, is going to matter. Yes, I like the way you did the flames. I like that color depth in there. I like the slightly desaturated look. I like that. It works pretty well, I think, because of the brightness of the armor. Because the armor really does like take up a lot of the refracted light that you would see of this model. Like, this model probably looks really fantastic in person. I'm willing to bet. The camera is probably not doing it justice because of the way light plays on true metallics, which I really like. Non-metallic metals, I mean, you know, like, everybody likes doing those, but they only work from certain perspectives. Non-metallic metals don't work in every viewable angle. In fact, non-metallic metals look weird from different angles versus a model that can be viewed from all around. Non-metallic metal only really works for photography. If you want to do your miniatures for photography, or you want to take pretty pictures of your models, then by all means, you know, practice those techniques. But otherwise, learning how to use true metallics and, you know, I mean, even exploring color depth within the metallics. You know, as I mentioned before, like, you know, the armor panels, right? Like, for example, like, if I was going to do him entirely, if I was to do him entirely gold, yeah, I would have went with a deeper gold here and a brighter gold for the trim. And, like, the elements, you know, like, for example, like, on his fist, he has that eagle shape. I would have did that a slightly different gold. You know, I would have went, like, with a varying tones of gold, right? Like his backpack. The inside of the design would have been a deeper gold. The trim would have been a brighter gold. And then the wings themselves would have been a slightly different gold. Now, not talking, like, different, you know, color of gold. Like, I wouldn't go with a blue or a red gold versus a purple gold versus a green gold. I would have probably went all within, say, for example, a green gold, but varying tones, so a bit deeper, a bit brighter, you know, like varying tones, and of course building up and down from those points as well. Basically, it would be an exercise of basically a monochromatic color scheme, essentially, when working with just one color like that. And so, thank you, Chaotic Colors, for sending that in. I'm glad that your customer was happy. It was an excellent paint job. There's no problems there. I think, you know, again, like I said, to really kind of step it up, stop relying on shade washes to achieve your effects, build those colors up yourself, and look to explore different things. Like, if you're going to stay within one color like that, explore that color. Explore it. You know, look elsewhere. But what you did right, I think, was really fantastic. The base was pretty dark and kind of neutral. His armor is bright and gold, and the flames of his sword, because it would have looked weird if you'd have went with yellow, like a yellow flame kind of sword on like color for his sword. I think it would have looked kind of weird if you'd have done it. It would have been really kind of, you know, blasé. And, you know, I think you made the right choice in going with that kind of desaturated red-orange kind of look for the sword. I think that was a very good call. And going with the deeper kind of end fingers of the flames and stuff like that, going very deep on those colors, I think that was the right call. I think it plays very nicely with that, how bright that model is. You know, the other hard part would be the face and stuff, right? You know, because if you go too light on his skin, then he gets lost in that bright gold, and if you make him too dark, then, you know, he just looks a little too dark, and it'll look kind of weird, especially if you do his hair blonde like it's often depicted. How the hell did I do his hair? I think I did his hair kind of a dark blonde, kind of like a brown, and gave him fairly deep kind of color, like deep tones in the face and everything like that. But otherwise, yeah, I think Chaotic Color, I think that's great, and I'm glad that your customer was happy, and deservedly so. I mean, it was a really good paint job. It was clean, you know, the color was where it's at, and the whole color scheme itself worked, and I'm sure it makes a great centerpiece for that guy's army. So, you know, good job. Where am I in the comments? Random Mob, I hate his lack of helmet. Yeah, I sometimes like the look of him with the helmet, and I sometimes like the look without the helmet. It doesn't make any sense for a Space Marine not to wear his helmet. You know, like sergeants and stuff like that, they take their helmet off, and it's like, we're in the middle of a fight, like, you're going to catch a bullet in the head. And I mean, like, you know, I don't care how bulletproof you think your skin is, you know, a bullet's still going to pass through your skull, kill your brain, and kill you. I don't think, you know, I don't think Space Marines would ever, you know, I mean, like, today's Marines don't take off their helmets. until they're well inside their base. You know what I mean? They take off their helmets and stuff like that. But in the middle of a fight, no, you leave your helmet on. Why? Because a bullet could pass through your head and kill you. It only makes sense, right? But 40K is not about making sense. The universe isn't about making sense. Because why would Space Marines jump into battle with bright red armor, bright yellow armor, into a night world, and like they're going to do a storm raid? And because apparently Space Marines are supposed to be stormtroopers, right? So they're the first ones in. So when an invasion's coming, the Space Marines are coming in these bright colors. You see these big ships, and these bright colors are coming down, and you're going, oh my god, these are Space Marines. Start firing back, you know what I mean? Like, oh, there he is hiding over there. Shoot him over there, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. They would be colored. Their armor would be muted. Like, you know what I mean? It would be situational. It would be combat situational to put on what they're doing and how armor would look, right? Realistically, but it's not real. So 40K is not real. Oh, I know that's going to come as a shock to some of you. Data Wargaming, thinking of getting an airbrush again after deciding not to. Whoa, is it worth it? YouTube won't let comments include links. Name a product on Amazon is a best complete professional airbrush compressor kit. Thinking of an airbrush? Get an airbrush. If you're doing commission painting and stuff like that, you definitely need an airbrush. If you've got a whack ton of models that you want to get through, and it just seems like a daunting task to just kind of wade your way through all those models, get an airbrush. It will save you a bit of time. Priming, base coating, some highlighting, stuff like that. It will speed that process up. So yes, get yourself an airbrush. You want to show me a link to a compressor kit and stuff like that. I mean, I have no idea. Even if you sent me the link, I still wouldn't know what to say about it. I mean, it's subjective. It's like cars. I mean, people poop on Ford, but people still drive Ford. People drive GM. People poop on GM. It's subjective. You know what I mean? What's the best car out there? Good Lord, you know what I mean? Like it's the same thing with these things, Okay. I mean, if you're looking for my opinion on what you should do, I would say go to Badger. Go to Badger. Webairbrushes.com. Badger. Okay. Get yourself a nice Badger brush. Patriot 105 or the Extreme Patriot 105. One of those two is a great starting brush. Patriot 105, excellent brush. Do it. I use it for priming, base coating, even some highlighting, even some detail work. If you turn the PSI down nicely, The only things to bear in mind when you are buying an airbrush is what airbrush you're buying. Okay. Then you got to make sure that your compressor you get has the proper fittings. So you got to pay attention to what the fittings are, because you need to make sure that your brush can work with that compressor. Even if you go outside the company and you go to a different company for the compressor, that's fine. You can do that because they often sell attachments, and this area where airbrushes and stuff like that. There's only a couple different fittings they use: 1/4 inch, like 3/8 or something like that. There's a few different sizes that they use. They all use the same things because everybody makes compressors pretty much the same way, and that's pretty much what dictates how they make their brushes. So really, people go on about Badger, Pache, what was the green one, Grex or whatever, and Wada. It's personal preference, dude. It's just like paintbrushes. GW, Winsor Newton, Raphael, Da Vinci, Craft Store. You know what I mean? It's whatever tool you have at hand that's going to get the job done. What's the best tool in your toolbox? Is the one you've got. That's the best tool to get the job done. That is the best tool to get it done. If you got that tool, you can get it done. That's the best tool. So don't trouble yourself too much about what airbrush, compressor, and stuff like that. Just make sure you have to make sure that the compressor you get can work with the brush you get. And that's where you got to pay attention to the fittings. And the compressor you're looking for, you want something that can do at least 30 psi. At least 30 psi. Any lower, and I mean, you can still use it. I don't think they do. I think 30 might be the lowest compressors go, actually. So, but otherwise, make sure you have a moisture trap on it. And what is it, like a little control valve? But otherwise, yeah, that's it. Just compressor, I would recommend a compressor that has a storage tank, just because I find you get a much more consistent airflow from the storage tank rather than just the tankless motors, where it's just the motor constantly running. And that's also, bear that in mind. It's a motor constantly running. and I find that the air coming out is like, it's very minute, but I find I notice that I can see it, like it's, and it comes out the brush like that because the motor's running and it's going, you know what I mean? And so if you have a tank, it fills the tank, and it's just, you know, like a balloon, right? And you just slowly let the air out. It's all constant kind of, you know what I mean? And it does that. So hopefully that helps, Dada. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Just be a smart shopper. Just be a smart shopper. Smart shopper. Smart shopper. A smart shopper. Damien Hibbert. Hi, Kris. Just dropped in for a bit. Welcome, Damien. Yeah, Steve McDemon, Lazy Monkey. Yeah, they're helping out. Yeah, those are all. Yeah, I mean, they're all great advice. I mean, yeah. Damien Hibbert, love your shirt, sir. Thank you. Love the shirt. This is a favorite. Anyway, yeah. Random mob. Let me take my helmet off so that you can shoot in the studs buried in my skull and show how old I am. Yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like logically, Space Marines would leave their helmets on, and I mean, like, you know, if they're fighting in, you know, near zero atmosphere and stuff like that, because Space Marine suits are supposed to be able to do zero atmosphere, right? That's one of the benefits of their suits, is they can fight in zero atmosphere, and so, you know, you'd leave your helmet on. I don't care how heroic you are. You know, no, you just wouldn't do it. It just doesn't make sense. You know, it's in fact, if anything, it's showing a lack of common sense. But then again, as I've been ranting on about stuff today, yeah, it would be a lack of common sense. There's a lot of lack of common sense all around. Let's do another email. This is from Steve McDemon. He sent it twice, but I don't know if he thinks he forgot the pictures or did the pictures. Anyway, Steve McDemon. Hey, Kris. Like I mentioned in my previous mail, I've been playing with weathering techniques. On this Valkyrie, I used the winter whitewash technique that was used in World WW2 to camouflage tanks when it began to snow. I also used enamel washes and pigment powder to simulate rust, grime, and dust. On the nose, you'll find my first ever freehand art. The face is a bit derpy, but after a couple of tries, I had to acknowledge that this is the limit of my current skills. But I'm planning on to do them on the rest of my flyers, and maybe even the other vehicles too. Practice makes perfect, right? I wonder what you think of it. Keep up the good work, Steve McDemon. That's how I picture Steve McDemon's voice, by the way. Okay, so we got these 4 pictures here. There's another email that looks like the same 4 pictures. So, okay. So let's have a look. And this looks freaking great. This looks great. Oh, yeah, I like this. This is like really weathered, like battle hardened and stuff. Yeah, I really like this weathering. This is very, very cool. The nose art, he said, I think it was the nose art was his first freehanding? I think that's what he said. I like it. It's good. What does that say? Is it B-bitch or D-bitch? I don't know what that is. Either way, it's very good. I like it. Oh, look at the helmets. They look like normal pilot duders. They look like modern fighters or like MiG pilots. I like it. I like the color scheme. I like, you know, I like the nose art and everything. That's funny. The weathering is really good. Now, is that the sponging technique, or were you stripping the paint off? I didn't quite catch. I was doing the voice, and so I actually really wasn't paying attention to what I was saying. Oh, yeah, very cool. Like, why would you load, like, see, here's common sense, right? Why would you load a machine gun right next to a big missile pod? right? He's spraying around, and then oh, it hits the missile pod, bang, everything explodes. Oh, I blew myself up. Why? Because of lack of common sense. What is it? Is that a B or a D? I think it's a B, right? Or is it D? As I get closer, it gets worse. I can't tell. Anyway, very cool. I like it. Thank you. Email. Steam McDemon. Send that in. I gotta just quickly read it again, right? Because it was. He used the winter whitewash technique. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So it was an enamel wash and a pigment powder to simulate the rust, grime, and dust. Okay, so when you laid it down, it was something you could scrub off again, right? So you could basically put your primer in, and you put the deeper colors, and then you could scrub the paint off, and then build your weathering like that, right? Is that am I correct? Because that's what that sounds like. Yeah, it's his first ever free-handed art. The face is a bit derpy, but I have a couple of lines acknowledge the limit of my current skills, but I'm planning to do the rest of the flyers. Yeah, very cool. No, I thought the freehanding was awesome. That was good stuff. Yeah. I didn't see anything wrong. I liked the flavor of it. I liked the color scheme of it all. I thought it was really, really good. Any points of advice? No, I mean things were painted were that looked like they were like deliberately painted, right? I mean, like, because oftentimes when you have like a model that's really weathered like that, right? At a distance, it can read kind of messy, right? And it's not until you really look close up at it that you start to appreciate that weathering, and what I mean, like, oh no, this is what I mean, like it was it was severely weathered and stuff like that. No, so I think it's. I think it's fantastic. I think it was good. I mean, like the lenses on your scopes and stuff like that were done. I think that looks awesome. Yeah, I mean, there was nothing about those that I said, oh, that he needs to work on this or that. I mean, the technique itself. I mean, you did that model how most scale modelers would do a vehicle, right? So you often are using a lot of big flat colors, and then providing weathering effects. If you were to go about it in a GW fashion, maybe an edge highlighting on some portions, maybe a light dry brushing just to pick bolt heads out and stuff like that. Not necessary, I don't think. Not for the overall look of the model. For the nose art, would she have been weathered? You know what I mean? Because you weathered like the company markings and the squadron markings. Would she maybe had a bit of weathering on her as well? Maybe in the future, maybe try less bold colors and go for more desaturated looking colors to provide your I mean, like, instead of like a bright solid red, go for a bit more of a muted red, just to give it like a sun faded feeling. You know what I mean? Especially because that portion of the model is kind of dark. You know what I mean? Let's just quickly jump to it again. Like, she's really saturated, in contrast to how weathered we're given the impression of the model, and her coloring and everything like that is like is it like something we're supposed to believe that was just put on, or was it something that was there and the weathering has occurred, and you know what I mean, like, and the sun bleaching, like I mentioned, like, would the colors be this saturated, you know what I mean, like, to provide a bit of realism. Also, I think what would have been a fun one as well, I don't know if you did do it or not, as I'm just thinking of it right now, is kill markings. Is there any kill markings on this? Because a lot of World War II stuff, they would have had kill marks along the windows. And even you could do like pilot names, right? The names of the pilots. Stuff like that, like little things that to kind of give it a real world kind of feeling, because something like with this amount of a realistic flavor, you might want to keep going those extra couple miles, a couple miles, and go that route. You know what I mean? Also, another one too is like engine grime and soot from the exhausts and such. I couldn't quite see if there was any. That's also a possibility. I I think on the window frames of the canopy, I think also there would be a bit of wear as well, as they're constantly, you know, lifting and closing the thing. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But otherwise, awesome stuff. I like it, Steve. It looks great. I've got nothing else for it. It's a good piece. It's a good bit of modeling, is what it is. And so, thank you for sending that in, Steam McDemon. Awesome stuff. Where am I? Greenleaf Train. Always do voices with the emails. Yeah. Steve McDemon, I resent it after you didn't get it the first time. Yeah, so I must have got it the first time, but you resent it the second time. Yeah. Cool. Random Mob, love the weathering. I love the weathering too. Steve McDemon, I use chipping fluid. Okay, so yeah, so you basically laid the primer down, you laid like a base coat, and then you put then you laid that base coat down, and then use the chipping fluid to pull that little layer off, right? Like use like an abrasive, like an old toothbrush or something, and just kind of knock that top layer off. Very cool. Yeah. Or no, what you do, yeah, it's you lay the base or the under prime layer down, or your base layer down, then you seal it, right? And then you lay that next layer down, and then you use the abrasive fluid and stuff, right, something like that. I don't know. I've never used this stuff. You know, I just do it old-fashioned way, I guess. Matt got crazy. It says bad bitch. Is that what it is? It's bad bitch. Oh, okay. Why is she a bad bitch? Or the plane's the bad bitch? Gotcha. Because they're badasses, right? Gotcha. I got you. Steve McDemon, even worse, the gunners are painted up a pretty good standard, and you can't even see them. Yeah, I think it's sometimes in those kind of instances, especially on a vehicle like that, and you're going to spend that amount of time on, maybe you want to venture into the world of LED lighting and lighting in the interior. Just a thought, you know, light up the canopy or the cockpit, you know what I mean, the console, putting LEDs to that. That Valkyrie kit, I mean, is an excellent model kit for doing something like that. And I've seen many Valkyries done up with LEDs, and they look fantastic. Especially with the headlights going, you know. The first thing I always think of, too, is aliens. I mean, they're not really that close. Well, except the, what was it, the Death Watch. The Death Watch plane kind of looks like the mix of a Valkyrie and, you know, like a Space Marine flyer. And that one reminds me of what's that show? Aliens? Matt got crazy. Heavy Bolter will be shooting stuff on the ground. Haven't you played Space Marine? You fly around and shoot on the side of it. How? Now that I think about, is it modeled wrong in the game? Right, exactly. Because I mean, that gun. I mean, like, sure, as that flyer. I mean, like, you know, it's like they did in Vietnam, right? I mean, like, you know, they had this door gunner, and the gunner could, you know, point his gun downwards and such, but it doesn't make sense because, I mean, that means that plane is always flying like this kind of thing. They don't do that in combat situations. You're going to be banking and rolling, and you know what I mean, or like a Spectre gunship, you're always going to be flying in a circuit. Like if they were covering a situation, how does that vehicle cover a ground situation properly? Right? Because as it's circling an area, it's tilted like this. It's going to fire through that gun pod and fire through the downward curved wing. It's not a very good cover ship, is what I'm saying. Is again, lack of common sense. Emperor's Champion. Zinch is life. Zinch is life. Zinch is life. Random Mob. Common sense is not getting on the Stormbolter in front of a Razorback's last cannon. Exactly. That's exactly common sense. Exactly. It's yeah. I mean, like, today's warfare, you know, the American Army, they're Humvees. A guy doesn't climb up and grab that 50 cal anymore. He doesn't climb up and use that 50 cal anymore. He sits inside the Humvee, protected in the Humvee, while a remote system controls that 50 cal now. And he sits inside and he uses like an Xbox controller and, you know, uses the gun. Why does a Space Marine have to open that top hatch, climb out, and use his Stormbolter. Just a mincy Stormbolter at that. It's not a you know, a Stormbolter 50 cal thing. You know what I mean? Like it's not some heavy machine gun. It's, you know what I mean? Like it's just a Stormbolter. I mean, the guys are walking around with those. You know what I mean? Like, you know, again, common sense. Steve McDemon. Yeah, it says bad bitch. I'm still thinking about changing it. World War II planes used to have more cute names. I think bad bitch is fine. I mean, anybody who might have a problem with the word bitch, I suppose, but I mean, you know. Although it is depicting a female, and you're saying it's a bad bitch. Yeah, I don't know. That's your line to walk. So, yeah, because I mean, like, you know, like the Memphis Belle, it had, you know, a girl on it, but it was the Memphis Belle, right? So it wasn't the Memphis bitch. That's awful, eh? Could you imagine? Oh man, that'd be awful. Awful. What an awful world we'd live in if that were the case, right? But I mean, that was back when men still opened the door for a woman. You know, today men don't open doors for women. Oh man. Anyway, but of course too, I mean, men were beating women more often too, though. So, you know, take your pick. Emperor Shaman, variety is the spice of life. It is the spice of life. Random Mob, I think that style of weathering would look great on a Gorkanaut. It would look fantastic on a Gorkanaut. Any Orkanaut. Any Orkanaut. Any Orky stuff looks fantastic weathered. Orcs are just one of those things. I mean, like, you know, I go on and on about orcs all the time. Like, you'd think I was an orc player or something. But orcs are a really fantastic faction because you can paint them really haphazardly or very deliberately. You can make them look really cartoony, or you can make them look somewhat realistic. You can go with really, really weathered, or really kind of clean. You know, I mean, all the looks are all orky, you know? And that's kind of hilarious, because, like, you know, nobody else really kind of pulls that off nicely as orcs. Orcs, it just seems like, yeah, that's how you do orcs. And you look at another one, yeah, that's how you do orcs. That's how you do orcs. You know what I mean? Like, orcs are very forgiving in that regard. Steve McDemon, I removed most of the white from the markings because covering up your mascot is bad luck. Yeah, okay, but no, but what I meant was, like, you know, like where she's painted, like imagine like the paint she's sitting on, and that has been weathered because, I mean, you have that dark gray, which I assume is like the body, the metal body underneath, right? And so, like, wherever she's sitting, and then of course you might get a little nick in her elbow and a little nick here and there, you know what I mean? Like, just the tiniest of weathering, because you don't want to ruin it. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, like if you desaturate the colors, it would give it that feeling that, you know what I mean, like this ship has seen a lot of battle, and you know what I mean, like the colors on it are fading, and you know, those kind of elements. If you were to, like, if you do another model like this, and you know what I mean, push it to that level, or take this model and push it to that level, you know what I mean, like, just some ideas. You don't have to do it. I mean, like, you know, I think it would look pretty cool if you were going to push it that kind of realism. Lazy Monkey, take care of the boobies and they'll take care of you. You know what? That's very true. As funny as that statement sounds, it is very true. You know, you got to take care of the boobs because, I mean, hell, like, who was that famous actress? She just recently got diagnosed. I mean, like, you know, women got to take care of those things. It's amazing, you know. I can talk about, you know, little puppies getting run over and things like that, but I mean, as soon as we get on the topic of breast surgeries and stuff, I get depressed. That's the one thing I don't want to talk about is ruined boobies. I don't want to talk about ruined boobies. Those the only good things in the universe is boobies, and let's not spoil those. So take care of them. I like that one ad I used to see. What was it? Because it's about, you know, women getting mammograms and stuff like that, and it was if he had them, he would take care of them. And it's like a guy, and he's got like boobs, and it's, you know, it's like if he had them, he'd take care of them. You know what I mean? Like, because I mean, you know, because they go on because guys love boobs, right? So I don't know. Maybe women don't find that funny, but I found it funny. I don't Anyway. Old man Logan. Any tips on prepping metal models for painting? Special considerations versus plastic? No, not at all. Just, you know what I mean? Like if with pewter models, you actually have less instances of mold release and things of that. But then again, really old pewter does oxidize. And so I've never encountered a problem with it, but like, you ever see some old pewter models and they go like really brown? But the new white pewter though, or newer I should say, the later white pewter, it stayed pretty damn oxidized. But like old, like the first iteration of pewter that Games Workshop was doing, and a lot of older model companies, yeah, it would go quite dark, like brown, black. But any considerations? No, I don't. It's been a while since I've fired up pewter models. Pewter models were a thing back in the day, but pewter is a pain in the ass to deal with. I think, in my opinion, pewter is a pain in the ass. Converting pewter, huge pain. So plastic is so much better. Resin's a close second. Pewter, way down at the bottom. But otherwise, no. I mean, just clean the model. Just clean the model. That's it. Just make sure your model's prepped properly. If you want to give it a mild soap bath and give it a quick little scrubbing, there's no harm in that. Yeah, that's about it. Otherwise, it's just pretty much the same. Painting is pretty much painting. Like resin models. I mean, we tend to always, like when you get like a Forge World kit, it's always step one: pull it out of the bag, give it a scrub. Then reshape the parts, because invariably there's going to be warped parts. But you know what I mean, like whereas like plastic models we don't, but you probably could, because again, like those things are mass produced, and I'm pretty sure they go through a cleaning cycle. But sometimes mold release, because that's the enemy, is mold release. That's why when we're scrubbing them, that's why, is because we're in case there's still that mold release, because mold release is it's like WD-40. It's like this. It provides this barrier that's a non-stick barrier between the mold and the product and the material, right? It's a mold release. Make sure that the two separate properly, and we're always looking to clean that off. And we're always petrified as modelers. We're always petrified it's on our models. Because why? Because we'll assemble the model, convert it, whatever, spend a lot of time on it, and then we're going to go to prime it, start laying paint on it. All of a sudden the paint just goes, and it comes right off. And it's like, son of a, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's why. That's why we're always up in arms about it. But I mean, otherwise, pewter, resin, plastic, painting it, like prepping it, like any kind of models and stuff like that, no, it's pretty much the same. It's not like you need to say a prayer or burn some incense or anything like that. You don't have to do anything like that or anything. You'll be fine. Although you might want to burn some incense, I don't know. Random mob. I love infinity models, but my meat hands hate them. Yeah, infinity models are pretty fiddly. Matt got crazy. He could write bad female dog for those SJW people. SJW? What's SJW? I don't know what SJW is. For those SJW people. What is that? I don't know what it is. I'm sorry, I'm not up on all the internet terms and acronyms. Greenleaf Terrain. Lady Lucy. Lady Lucy? Sure. Okay. Like Lucille Ball? Kilo 8878, Old Man Logan, clean those metal pieces in soapy water before painting. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Matthew Dammy, I got yelled at for opening a door for a woman. Yeah, but did you open the door and so, here you go, bitch? Did you do something like that? Because, yeah, she'll yell at you. But if you just simply hold the door open, stand there. And if they go after you, then just go. Doesn't mean you're a dick. Just, she said go. So, all right, I'm going to go. It's the modern age we live in. Where am I? I lost where I am. Anyway, Matthew Dammy Pewter, for historical like pirates and Napoleonic, where there is not a lot of converting, is great because they become indestructible. Sure. Random Mob, I think the original War Machine were called White Metal or something like that. Yeah, it's pewter, but it's white metal, yeah. Those were when I first saw Kris and grabbed them. Very cool. Yeah, Kris are very interesting. I mean, like, you know, they are very eye-catching. They're probably the only thing really... I mean, they have a bit of a chaos, 40k chaos kind of feel to them, but they're still, you know, necromantic, you know? They're very cool. Again, for me, like War Machine, the hard part of getting into War Machine was the models, because I wasn't crazy about the Jacks. I just did not like the look of Jacks. I did not like the sculpts of them. I just thought they looked dumb. They just looked bad. You know what I mean? Like they were just too soft, no details, you know, stuff like that. And that was years ago when GW was still getting into this plastic phase and, you know, still CADing stuff. Like they weren't Games Workshop wasn't even CADing stuff yet. You know what I mean? Like, and I still wasn't into War Machine. Kevin Cabell, I have to agree with you about the pewter, Kris. I'm old school, or just old, and had a great nostalgic feeling about pewter. Then I started my old metal Eldar avatar a few weeks ago. God, I hate pewter. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Because I mean, big pewter models, you have to frickin' pin it all the time. Man, it's like you need an engineering degree just to put your frickin' model together. I mean, it's so stupid. Plastic, oh, so much better. Andy Clark, SJW. Yeah, what's SJW? So, Mad Cow Crazies. SJW is social justice warriors. Basically, people who get offended by everything. Andy Clark is social justice warrior. Anthony McGowan, social justice warriors. Well, he added the plural. It's warriors. Social justice warriors. Okay, I know what you guys are talking about now. Yeah, I think I know which ones you're talking about. You post something and it's like, no, that's wrong. It's this and that. And don't you know? Yeah, I know which ones you're talking about. You get a lot of vegans like that. Or vegetarians. Or whatever the hell they're called. Now I'm going to get a whole bunch of vegans and shit all pissed off at me. You know what? I don't care. Screw them. Screw them and their gray color. Because they're a nice, healthy gray color. Eat some damn proteins, for God's sake. Eat some meat. Get some color back in your skin. I love ripping on them. Anyway. Data Wargaming. You seen what Spiky Bits have put out about information on where GW is going? I need the next few years, basically 4 design teams, 40k, Age of Sigmar, Specialist Games, Forge World, 1 release to continue the next comment. Per month for each design team, more female models, Sister Battle, Specialist Games getting loads, and 30k getting its update in 7th edition rulebook. No more 30k plastics planned. Sure. No, I didn't hear about that. You know, I mean, GW is going to do what GW is going to do. Plain and simple. I mean, knowing what's coming down the pike, does that change anything? You know what I mean? Like, what does it change for you? Knowing that there's more Age of Sigmar stuff coming. You know, if you don't play it, do you care? I don't care. You know, the only thing I'm concerned about is the next Eldar Codex. That's the only thing. That's the only thing on my horizon. I don't care what, like a GW from a year from now. I mean, I'm sure that information can get leaked, but I mean, like, GW is like at least 6 months out from what they release. At least. They're at least 6 months. Maybe less, maybe more. But they're not a week-to-week kind of thing. They're not just on the fly developing these things. These things are in development. Why? Because they're a company run by a board. Boards have committees, and there's a committee for this and a committee for that. And so, you know what I mean? Like, you have to go through all these freaking committees to make decisions. And that is a very slow process. But it's a big multi-million-dollar company, and, you know, yeah, it's gonna take time for things to happen. But according to some committees, you know, I mean, they could start off on a track, and then all of a sudden a committee comes up and says, no, we're going to stop that. We're going to go on with this. And that gets immediately kiboshed, and, you know, and you carry on with that. Happens all the time in companies, in big corporations and stuff like that. So, you know, sure, stuff's coming out. We know stuff's coming out Because why? Because Games Workshop's in the business of making money. How do you make money? By producing product. So they're going to keep producing products. Big shock. You know? Oh, well. Anyway. Mad Cow Chrissy, I bought a Chinese electric nail file, put one of those round electric toothbrush heads on it. Now cleaning resin is fast and easy. I like that idea. Yeah, I like that idea. Using an electric nail file, put the round plastic toothbrush heads on it. Very interesting. I like that. Mad Cow Crazy. Why not use a regular electric toothbrush? Well, not as fast. I've used and a few, and they aren't as good as 5,000 RPM nail file drill things. Yeah, I bet. I mean, you don't want 5,000 RPMs going off on your teeth, right? You'll wear it right down to the nerves. Just no. Oh man, I could just hear that drill sound now. Just wait. Let's turn this on. That's my Dremel. Not a dentist drill. But it's essentially the same damn thing. It's a rotary tool. I mean, anyway. Random Mob. GW's Amazing Sculptors ruined War Machine for me. Yeah, kind of. I mean, you know, you just get such dynamic poses. Like, you know, like it really started off with like kits like Nagash, where he's like up in the air and he's floating and he's got all these freaking ghosts flying around him. That's fantastic. That's sculpture type of stuff, right? And how are you supposed to compete with that unless you're on the same kind of playing field? I mean, I like those kind of models. That's why I beg and plead to Games Workshop. Redo Bretonnians. Give me back Bretonnians. Give me a Green Knight who's floating on ghosts and who's, you know, in a very dynamic pose. And, you know what I mean? Like, give me new Bretonnians. I don't even care if they're on Pegasus. Give me something, you know, Age of Sigmar Pegasus. Or they don't even have to be, like, Knights like before. They can be Stormcast dudes who are kind of Bretonnian. Or, you know what I mean? Like, just, you know, damn it. Because I mean, like imagine like Pegasus Knights, like under the new sculpting, you know, like those really dynamic poses, and the knight's up and he's got his sword, and or he's got his lance and he's coming in, and like, oh man, like, there's just so much missed opportunity there. Oh, anyway, Matthew Demi, Kris, do you know what vegan or vegetarian means in Native American? Yeah, you said it. like why type the joke with the answer at the end? Why not type the joke, give it a second, and then type the answer? Bad hunter. Yes, I know. And so he removed the message. Random Mob. I would love to have some female guard and such. Sure. Matthew Demi. Random Mob. Go to Victoria Lamb. They have female guard sculpts. Yeah. Actually, Victoria Miniatures, awesome. I've been him and hawing for a while now. I don't know why, but like she does like some really great stuff. Great collection of models. She's got like models that look like Tanith, and I've always wanted to do like a Tanith guard army. And you know, with Imperial Guard coming out, you know, would be a lot of fun. Anyway. Data Wargaming. Production time from idea to production is a year. Autocorrect trying to correct isn't. What? Anyway. Yeah, production time from idea to production? Sure, yeah, of course, because it's got to go through all these committees. It's not just like Jess Goodwin sits down and goes, I'm going to design a new Space Marine. No, he's got to sit down with committees and stuff like that, and they go over this and that, and everybody in this freaking committee, and this is the problem with committees too, is that everybody gets their own freaking their own opinion on everything, and like that's where you get like this business world, and everybody's got their own idea about stuff, and you know, like it just everybody has this idea. Quark's here. Quark, what were you just doing at the doorway?
I was waving at you.
Oh! Now get out of here.
Canada!
I don't know why you even came in here, dude. What time are we at? Holy crap, it's already 2 o'clock. Where the hell did the time go? It ends with me slapping Quirk. Don't worry, it wasn't a hard slap. And he loves it anyway. Dr. Zentos, just in the nick of time for the ending. How was the show? It was horrible, dude. Horrible. Like, I go off on rants and, we try and do emails and it just, it's a wreck. It's a train wreck. It's more of a train wreck. Random Mob. I have a strange love of Skeleton Sigmar sets and good Skeleton, I thought it said mofo. Model is so cool. Yeah. And you know what? I don't know if they've been released yet or not. The new Shadespire or Shadowspire, the gangs. There's a skeleton gang. Very, very cool. Oh yeah, the sculpts are awesome for that game. Like you can just play with the models right out of the box and just start playing the game. But you paint them up and like they're highly detailed and they look really freaking good. And like these are brand new sculpts for the game. These are entirely new sculpts. Even the bases are sculpted details. They have like sculpted bases. Like they're all completely like a model that you just slap some paint on. I think it's fantastic, and I like the fact that they're all new sculpts for these kits. I mean, like they're going all out for this game. This I think they're downplaying it, but I think they're going all out for this freaking game. I was dropping that ball. Anyway, Matthew Dammy, Q-Fed. I know, good old Q-Fed. Matthew Dammy, the reason GW cut Bretonians was because people were using historical knights from like Essex because it was cheaper. Sure, that was the case, but Age of Sigmar, the scale is different. Age of Sigmar is not the same scale as Warhammer, and I mean they don't have to make Bretonians look like the Bretonians before. They can make them look like Age of Sigmar dudes riding, griffins and all sorts of crazy crap. You know what I mean? And just call them Bretonians and just kind of give them, like the head crest kind of thing, and it can be crazy crap. And they could wear capes if they wanted, or no capes, and they have the big long ass lances, and maybe they don't even have to have lances. Maybe it's some sort of crazy doodad at the end of it. You know what I mean? Like it's just they can change it around. Give us back Bretonians though, because I miss Bretonians. I miss them. I miss them so dearly. No, I'm just kidding. Random Mob. Good old Cork Slap. Yeah, good old Cork Slap. That makes it always brightens my day. Giving Cork a slap. Dizzy Angel Demon. LOL. LOL what, at the slap? Yeah, well he likes it. He's a good little bitch. Speaking of bad bitches, Quirk's a bad bitch. Really, it should be Quirk on the nose of that plate. I think on that note, I can't go any further. Oh man, just Quirk just on the plate, dude. Oh jeez. Old Man Logan, not just committees play into it, they have a factor in manufacturing, lead times, shipping times, etc. A number of logistics to consider with GW scale product releases. Exactly. Like, you're talking a long freaking time. Yeah, like it's not, they don't just crank something out in a month. It's months and months. It's a year, Yeah, exactly. So, here's a Full Metal Haggis. I love that name. Full Metal Haggis. Have I missed much? Quick recap, please. Kristen. Who the hell's Kristen? I'm not Kristen. I'm Kris. Christopher, if you will. Recap. I don't have time for a recap. Holy man, it's already after 2. I mean, the show is done. We're done. He retracted his message. Why'd you retract your message? What? Because it said Kristen? Kilo 8878. Call him back and give him one from the monkeys too. Hostile work environment. Ebb and flow. Random Mob plane immediately crashes. I don't know if Quirk's gonna come back. He just went. I stepped out for some fresh air. I can hear the doors. I don't know what's going on. Full Metal Hug is damn autocorrect. Sorry, Kris. Yeah, I know what you meant, dude. I was ribbing you, dude. I was ribbing. I was having some lulls with you. Dizzy Angel Demon, yeah, I was laughing at the slap. Now you need to put him in a sexy pose for your next free hand demo. Yeah, paint me like one of your French girls. Yeah, I could do that. Just have Quirk kind of like a still life in the background, and he's just sitting like on some boxes and stuff. Oh man. Oh yeah. I can't go any lower than that. If you're a commission painting service or you're just looking for some input, you have, you're brand new to this hobby and you want to get a little bit of insight into where you could need to improve, stuff like that, send your questions, comments, and concerns to Kris@miniwargaming.com. It's in the description below. Of course, join me on Discord. We also do live thing after the show. And of course, whenever I do my game night videos, I always grab some monkeys out of the crowd and we play some games at night. And, it's a great way to stay connected. I leave it up all the time. So, I mean, if you want to talk, and of course, we can always voice talk. We can have some one-on-one time, what have you. Whatever, it's whatever happens. A lot of fun. I've been enjoying Discord. It's been fantastic. Way the Brush Facebook page. Of course, you type in waytobrush.com. It takes you to the Facebook page until I eventually get a Way the Brush website designed, which I've been saying. But I also need to restock the store with the thingies, and so yeah, there's a lot of Kris's plate at the moment. So, Way the Brush, Facebook, Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter. I post like updates on what I'm doing, and when I'm going live and stuff like that, I always post on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter if you want to stay up to date on stuff. And yeah, that's it, right? Oh, Patreon. Can't forget Patreon. Patreon, guys, been fantastic. Support me on Patreon. It helps support the show. It helps keep these things going because, again, there are a lot of expenditures for the show. It's not a whole lot of things, but they do add up. And I mean, Way the Brush has always been a project of mine. It's not paid for by Mini Wargame or anything like that. It all comes out of my pocket to do. And so, I just want to say thank you to the patrons for supporting. And they're helping to make this show better. They are. Believe it or not, they are making it better. And it also encourages me to make more videos because sometimes I could just be, just like I could go a day without doing the show or doing a video. I say, nah, I'm gonna stay home and play video games. But then I'm like, no, these guys, they're giving me support here, and I want to do something special for them. And it's just trying to give back. It's just trying to give back what you guys are giving me, and that's all it is, right? What you guys are giving me, I'm trying to give back. Trying anyway. You know what I mean? And so it's fantastic. And Patreon is a great way to support Way the Brush, and of course Way the Brush t-shirts. This isn't a Way the Brush t-shirt, but normally I would have a Way the Brush t-shirt. If you see in the intro and the outro, you'll see Way the Brush t-shirts, and they all look manly. You see like Matt and Dave, they look manly in it. You see a lot of other monkeys wearing their shirts. I got to redo the intro because I've gotten more pictures of people in their shirts, and I got to redo the intro because I should just have it just as a montage of the monkeys in their shirts, everybody looking superior, looking uber. I don't know. I've never come up with a good sales pitch for the shirt. How long have we been doing Way the Brush? I still haven't come up with something. I just fail. Anyway, take care of your brushes. They'll take care of you, and I will see you guys. Oh, you know what? No, I might not do a show next week because there's an art exhibit thing going on, some hipster thing. I don't know, but anyway, so I might not do a show next week. But I'll let you guys know if I'm a day or so, 2, 3 ahead of time. Ooh, geez, lights are flickering now. What the hell's going on around here? Quirk's trying to turn off the power on me. he's playing with the box. Lazy monkey. Das Uber monkey. Das Uber monkey. Carl, if you're watching this show, and you want to use another soundbite, here's another soundbite for you. Okay, hold on. Das Uber monkey. I'm getting the hell out of here.